All right.
Hi, Molly.
Morning, Molly.
Hi.
Perfect. Let's get started. It's fine. We still have some somewhat new members, so let's do another around the room with introductions. Just to help with names. And I think my icebreaker question for today is yeah, we'll just be inspired by our conversation walking in. What's your favorite month of the year and what's your least favorite month of the year? So my name's Nina, I'm the chair. And I think my least favorite month is March. It used to be November because it's very gray, but March is just really long and really wet and gross, and I'm done with snow. And my favorite month, I think, is August, because I love summer, and by August, the weather is just really solid and makes me happy. Let's go this way.
Cool. I'm Cody. I'm pretty similar. Love August, hate January, but it's winter.
Yeah, similar here to Sundance Campbell. Maybe I'll get a little more specific. I'm a kind of a July 15th, August 15th guy. And I don't care for March.
I'm Jennifer Snow, and it feels like I'm just repeating what they said. August, definitely my favorite month. But I think February is my least favorite. March feels more hopeful to me about spring and summer. February just feels like we're never going to be done with winter.
Some years it's like that. My name is Cal Elmore, and I prefer September, but I have that freedom and flexibility that you guys don't. My least favorite is probably March. Yeah.
I'm Sam Scapani, and I'm going to go totally in left field and say my least favorite is December, because I get really affected by the short days. And I'm not that much of a Christmas guy. And my favorite is October.
I'm Barbara McNeed, and I'm with you on October as a favorite month. I think that's a great month. I've always hated March. All my life, I've hated March.
It's a March crowd. Oh my God.
I'm Sarah McQuillan. I'm the assistant in the Community and Economic Development Department. I too hate March, which I hate to say since we're at the cusp of March right now. But it is long and wet and feels like little to lighten the mood, no holidays or anything. But my favorite month is July, because I also really love summer, and I love that when it's July, you still have an entire month of summer to look forward to afterwards. So
I'm Rosemary Lozier. I actually love March because I'm a March birthday.
Oh.
So, March, and I love St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
I sort of don't really like, I guess, April, because it's like muddy and the snow's gross, and you never know what you're gonna get in terms of weather. I really like August, September area, because everyone says summer ends in September. And it's still really nice, so.
I'm Ann Krieg. I'm the Director of Community and Economic Development with the city. I'm definitely in the anti-April camp because it's still cold and wet and icky. So, because we don't always get spring, it just becomes summer one day. And then my favorite month is October.
My name's Kelly Chanel. I gotta say, like, January is not my favorite. It's like the point of like hockey season where you're so overwhelmed and tired and you just want it to be over with. It's so dark, and like that's why I keep my Christmas lights on until like February, because it's so dark and like gloomy and depressing. My favorite month is gotta be September. Kids go back to school. It's like, I love the fall. I love the change. I missed it not living here. So when you don't have that 4-season change, it's just like, I missed that so much. So yeah.
Ollie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Holly, and I'm Zooming from a coffee shop in Philly. So I hope my internet is okay. And I hope you can't hear the really loud pop music that's playing. My favorite month is June because I love summer, and June to me feels like the beginning of summer. So you have like all the rest of summer to go. It's also when I no longer have to do my job as an English professor at UMaine. The semester's over. And my least favorite month, I'm with the April group. I hate April. I hate rain. I hate cloudiness. And it's also my busiest month in the academic year. It's like the end of the term. I have to work really hard, and it's also miserable out.
Great, thanks, everyone. Meeting minutes. Does anybody have any questions from the February minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Sorry, just actually do. There we go. Perfect. My report. I don't have a lot to report. February was February. I did want to plug a couple of reminders. Some of our grantee organizations have things happening in March. If you are thinking about going to the Symphony Gala, those tickets, you have to buy tickets today. And then Jen sent me a reminder that Matinicus opens this month on, I think, the 20th or 22nd at the Penobscot Theater. So if you would like to go see it, please do. I think it's going to be great. It's an all-Maine play. And I believe we gave them a grant for it. Yes, great. And then Anne was just mentioning also the Zillman has a great new show up. So go look smart.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
I just
please.
saw that at Red Rabbit Bazaar tonight, Marilee, who we funded, is having her art opening.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's 6 to 8 p.m. at Red Rabbit Bazaar.
Cool. Thank you for catching that. I had no idea. Great. So if anybody wants to go to that, it is also First Friday. So various other galleries and spaces are having openings tonight. Maybe the snow will stop. Does anybody else have anything that's happening in March that will make March a little more fun or better?
The library is always doing interesting things. You kind of have to get on their reminder list to sort of keep up with things. But
Is your show still up?
that's true. I wasn't gonna say that because I don't generally blow my own horn. But I was gonna say on the 22nd, there's a unique thing happening. It's a pop-up exhibit of people from the community, artists from the community, who each took a challenge, a February challenge, to do a work of art a day for February.
Oh, cool.
And those are gonna be on display and talked about on March 22nd from 1 to 3.
Great. And also currently your work is on the third
There's a
floor.
lot of good, there's a number of different artists whose work is on display right now. Thank you, Nate.
Yeah.
Are they stopping soiree ticket sales today?
Apparently, yeah, today is the deadline. This is what I thought. Maybe they'll extend
I
it, but
literally put a calendar note in to buy them next week, so thank you.
you're welcome. Any other things, questions, thoughts? Cool. I don't have anything else to report. We have not met. We did submit the budget for next year, I believe, as we discussed last month. So we requested what we can request, kind of what we talked about. So we will see. I'm assuming sometime in April or May.
Yeah,
will be time to-
they haven't released the schedule of
Yeah,
council hearings yet.
but
So,
I will plan to go to
yeah, it'd be good to have.
defend
a few
what we
councilors
asked
there.
for. And I will let you all know when that's happening. If anybody would like to come join me, support me, or just sit on the sidelines while I come talk and answer questions, that would be great. But yeah, we'll try that. And then we will see also still about applying for some grants for some projects. Cool. Financial report. Does anybody have any questions?
I will just note quickly on the financial report, I didn't notice until after I sent the packet out, but I forgot. It's a note that we talked about at the February meeting, but I just forgot to notate it in the totals, the $104 from the newspaper ad for the public restroom RFP. So that total of $8,000.60 is minus 104. So it's really $7,896.60.
All right.
I don't know if there's a right place for this question, so redirect me if you'd like, but it's finance related. So I'd had some meetings with East Maine Development Corp. I led a meeting with Dan Trimble about a month ago about some other things. And there was some discussion that there might be like tax increment financing for arts and culture, maybe on the table in the near future. But it was a little vague to me. Is that anything you know about and can talk about? Ann?
Yep, last month, the city council, voted in the ability to use, TIF funds for, cultural investments or public art, things like that. So, yeah, that is gonna be more available. The statute changed because you used to not be able to do that. And so, when the state changed the allowances, we changed them as well. So, and art and culture is part of that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So two follow-up questions. One is in the current environment where everything's being challenged at a federal level. I mean, is that something that would still be dynamic, or does it seem like that?
No, that's local, because that's local funds. The
Gotcha,
TIF
gotcha.
funds are, basically taking a percentage of the taxes in a district and putting them in a special fund that funds things that benefit that district.
And again, if I'm way too early on these questions, my final question is, where does the commission come in those discussions, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, when the council talks about the TIF budget, we've already set aside some funds in the staff budget for just, to be able to have a general amount. I think there's $15,000 that we're trying to set aside so that we could come to the commission, in the next fiscal year to say, okay, what can we, what would you like to do? So we are setting that aside.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, keep us posted on that.
What's that?
Keep us posted. We'd love.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna talk about it in the budget thing, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did it early, that's fine.
Do you know yet if there would be restrictions on the types of things we could fund with that money? Like, is the calendar project something that could be discussed under that? Or does it have to be public art, like permanent public art installations?
Let me look at the wording and I'll put that in your next packet and we'll have that as an agenda item.
Great.
Yep.
Any other budget, finance related questions, thoughts? All right, committee reports. Grant committee?
Yeah, well, we haven't met and that's on me and I apologize. So we'll need to meet. So the deadline's April 1st for the grants, right?
Yeah. Does that mean it's live now?
I will
I
check.
believe it's live now. I thought I looked at it like a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess for everyone on this commission, if you want to spread the word or post it to your socials or, spread the word in your artists, communities and networks, that would be great. Probably the institutions who often apply are aware of the deadline, but I'll post it to the Instagram page as well. And then once we get the applications, the grants committee will meet to do an initial vetting before we bring our recommendations and we just need to make sure that every application that we received is complete and everyone who's applied is qualified to receive a grant. So then we would take the recommendations and bring those applications to the May meeting for a full commission vote. I know we had talked about whether we wanted to move to one grant cycle for the year rather than two. I just think we couldn't do that for April because it's the end of a fiscal year, right? Rather than the beginning. So I think once we, and I don't think that would give the institutions enough lead time, like to know that like for April 1st, this is the only one of the year. So I'm thinking that that is something that that subcommittee can handle after like the vetting of this round of grants. Like maybe we meet like in late May to think about the October 1st deadline. Like, will that be the one of the year? If it is, we need to give all of the organizations like as much lead time as possible. I also thought though it might be worth, and I brought this up at the last meeting, but I thought it might be worth kind of polling or surveying the organizations who have received grants from us in the past and seeing, you know, would that work for them to have, you know, only one deadline a year? Like, would they know what their scheduling would be? Or would they need like have the option of every 6 months having a different deadline? So I think that's something that the subcommittee will do post this grant cycle. And I will send out a committee-wide or commission-wide email asking, you know, who still wants to be on the grants commission or subcommittee. And for the new people, if you'd like to join the grants subcommittee, we typically have just a few meetings a year. And we do like the kind of initial vetting of the application. So we'll be meeting very soon after the April 1st deadline.
Does anybody have questions?
I wonder if as part of the application for this next grant, if maybe isn't time to do it, heads up, this might change. I don't know. I think you ought to give people a lot of lead.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I wonder like if it's already up. And then I wonder like if we don't end up changing it, like if we wanted to put that out into in the water when just like if that would freak people out if we don't end up changing it.
yeah,
I don't know.
I think it also, the current system means that anybody who applied in the fall isn't eligible this round. Anybody who applies this round, normally not eligible in the fall, but if we change it, they would be. So I think maybe that
Yeah.
would,
Confusing.
It might
Yeah.
be like a multi-year, like it might be the type of thing where we, excuse me, survey this year and then like in leading up to next year's grant cycle, we are like very heavily being like FYI, this is changing.
yeah.
But also we could talk to people and they could be like, this is the worst idea ever. I have no idea what my programming is for the next, 6 months yet, so.
Yeah.
And aren't groups on different schedules? Their budget things are on different schedules, so that makes it hard to anticipate.
But right, I think that's why it's worth surveying the past several years of grantees. I know we have some who are really consistent every year, but there's also a few outliers. So I think we have contact information for everybody who's gotten a grant. Right, in the past, I don't know how many years, so.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be very difficult to
Mhm.
at least ask them for their opinion. Great.
And
Any
can I
other-
just ask, when we
Yeah.
put in the budget request, were we asking for any more for the grant budget?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
we
asked
did
for
raise it. Okay,
Okay. Yeah,
great.
given right how long it hasn't changed and if ever, and
Yeah.
just everything is more expensive.
Right.
It doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon, so. We will strategize to fight for that when the time comes. Cultural Asset Committee.
We also have not met. Mainly because of at the last meeting when Betsy was here, because when I served on the Cultural Asset Committee before, we were doing the work, she kind of, when it all started, they hired a person to do the work, and we've asked for that in the budget, right?
Yeah, we included that. I
Yes.
think we asked for 2,000
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
to hire
Yeah.
a university intern, I
Right.
don't know what the shape of that position will be yet, but it'll be a stipend for someone to help us gather more information.
And also a different way to do the storyboard things. So I think until we know where we're going in that direction, that.
Yeah.
We will wait. But if you could find, I don't know if you can, what the, advertisement was for the position.
I was gonna actually bring that up, if you hadn't, I did find the advertisement, that we put out when, we did the first survey, which was in 2019, I think. So I can send that to you if you'd like,
Great.
yeah.
Thanks.
Great. And I know one other thing we were talking about is having the person who knows how the.
Yep, our GIS
Right.
technician.
Yes.
Yep,
Right.
so whenever you guys decide that you do wanna have a meeting to just go over that technical piece of things, just let me know and I will coordinate with John to get that set up for you guys.
Do we know if there's anything on there right now that really needs to be changed? That's urgent because it's really wrong or?
I haven't looked in
Okay.
6 months.
All right.
I know Tristan had done a lot of updating.
Yeah.
Last year,
Okay,
so I think he left it pretty well up to date.
okay, great.
Just, we need to add things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. October.
So, continuing the theme of, we haven't met, I think it'd be great if we could start, I'm new chair to that committee, and I think most of you know, so, Nina and Holly, if we could meet sometime later this month and try to get up to speed, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And maybe we just do that by email later today?
Yeah.
Great,
That sounds good.
so we'll
Yeah.
try to get something on the calendar early April.
That sounds good, right? Just to prepare. We won't know if we got the budget until probably June. And so we will start planning it more earnestly, but it's still good to prepare and to share information.
And just let me know when you decide to meet, cause I'll set like a conference room here
Oh,
for you
great.
guys and.
Great. A question related to that, are we able to, like, is there a way for us to raise funds, or if someone wanted to donate money to help with that budget, like a corporate donation? Is there a path to that kind of thing through the city?
Yeah, would have to go to council would have to, accept the funds
Okay.
on your behalf, yeah.
Just to say, we have done that in October in the past.
Great.
So,
Great.
All right. Any October questions? Any grants or any committee questions in general? All right. Staff updates.
So, Sarah, do you wanna go over the RFP? Cause you
Yeah,
have done a bunch of
um,
work on that.
So, there was only one bid received, which unfortunately had to be disqualified because it wasn't submitted correctly. So I, did meet with, some of our staff in finance, about moving forward and, I was actually informed, which I didn't know before, that, you guys don't have to go through the city's public bid process, if you don't want to. And they actually recommended that since there, was only one bid received on this one, that it might not be the best option to put it out to bid again through the city's process. And I know you had been interested in getting some student involvement, so you do have the option if you want to reach out directly to the schools.
Okay.
But, and certainly you can come up with other ideas as well, but the long and short of it is I don't have any bids to present to you, but you do have other options besides the public bid process for getting artists for this project.
Okay. And we would still be able to give the stipend, even
Yes.
if we do, could we do a call for submissions without the public bids? Or would we have to like approach a group?
That is a good question that I will have to get some additional clarification on.
Okay.
I will try sending emails while we're in this meeting in case I can get any response.
Okay.
but if not, I will follow up with you afterwards.
Yeah. And do you know if the person who did submit is connected to the schools at all?
I don't, so I'd asked whether, because I'm also not terribly familiar with the bid process since it's not handled within our department necessarily. So I did ask if, if a bid gets disqualified because of something like inaccurate submission format, if they get reached out to be informed, like, hey, this was the reason that you got disqualified. And I guess it's the policy to not do that, so that, again, there's not any, like, flavor of favoritism.
Right.
So, as far as I know, they basically just discard the information.
Like, I get it,
So
but it's
many-
so
Right,
frustrating.
I know.
So that also means we wouldn't be able to contact them and say, hey, we're changing the system. We'd love to
I don't,
talk with you because you were interested.
generally speaking, I would say I don't believe so, although I will see if this particular case is different, since you don't have to go through the bid process anyway. You might have more flexibility on that end of things, so I will do my best to get that information for you promptly.
Just the name would be great.
Right, no, I totally get it.
Yeah, cool, okay.
So what does it look like for us not to have to go through the public bid process? Like what?
I
Is
mean-
that, does that just mean we're responsible for distributing any advertisements for the RFP? Would we be able to change the deadlines?
I think you can go about it pretty much
Yeah,
as you wish.
I mean, we'll work with you to
Okay.
get.
But we
it
can't
out,
post it on like the
obviously,
city websites or anything. Like we couldn't put it on like the cultural commission page.
We can put it on, I mean, the city's the city's social page, yeah.
Yeah, I think since it's not, it doesn't have to be a formal bid, then some of those other parameters around like not posting it on social media and stuff like that open up, because it's not under as strict guidelines for how we can receive
Sound
bids.
much better.
Yes,
Well, that's good, I think.
yeah,
And right, it would also mean that we can more easily directly send it to people, and edit it. So it's a little bit more like the Bangor Arts Award, which we have full control over.
Right, I mean, it would be good to have a process just so the artists that are interested feel like they're gonna have a fair shot
Yes.
at it.
Yeah.
You don't wanna, yeah. I mean, or you can work directly like with the schools, I mean, that would, cause that would be sort of a policy decision.
Yeah.
That you're working with the schools.
I think one other reason it would be good to know who the one applicant was is if they were connected to the schools or some other
Right, we'll see.
group or organization or person who's known to us. If we now reach out, it
Right,
would be weird if like we didn't know that they applied
yeah, we'll see.
and we say, hey, apply to this. And they
Yeah.
say, oh, but I did. So
Yeah.
I think if we could at all figure out who it was, that would be great. All right, so we will have to make some edits. Just date timeline edits to the RFP and,
Do we still like put it on city letterhead and everything? Or is that even?
so I just sent an email trying to get some clarification on those particulars. I think it will still have to generally go through city channels since it's coming from you
Mhm.
as a city commission.
Yeah,
But again, some of those other really strict parameters around the actual formal bid process are loosened a little.
Okay.
But it'll still have to come from the city rather than you.
okay,
Yeah.
It'd be great if we could get just like a step by step.
Yeah, yes, yeah. And this is, from what I gathered, this is a really unique project in terms of getting anything in the way of bids. So even the staff and finance were a little bit like, they hadn't gotten anything like this before themselves either. So we're all kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess more to come. See, I'm a little hesitant to. I mean, we obviously have to wait for answers, but that might mean that we can't really discuss this again until April. I wonder if we need a public restroom art like ad hoc
Committee.
committee. That once we have those answers, we could meet sometime this month
Mhm.
to keep the process moving.
This month or April?
This month. Ideally, because if we can't talk about it again until April, because we can't make decisions over email. As a commission, we have to make decisions in meetings.
Right.
And committees can make recommendations that then like the commission has to approve. But if some of the steps can be done before April, I think that might be helpful. Otherwise, we're not gonna be able to publish this again until sometime later in April. And we won't get submissions until later in May. Which basically means this won't get installed this year. So if we could move it along a little faster, I think maybe that would be great.
I can head that ad hoc because I wrote the RFP.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm happy to join.
okay.
So let's wait until we have some answers.
Yeah.
But then if you wanna send everybody a
Mhm.
meeting invite and whoever wants to join this conversation is welcome to join. In the past with committee meetings, we sent out a doodle and people pick what times work for
Okay.
them. But totally up to you to figure out how you wanna do that.
Who has connections to the schools? Cause I don't. I've been like, Cal, I figured you.
Well, the art teachers.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You wrote me a list, so I have their names.
Yeah.
And I can,
Those
through
are just the
that,
high school teachers, I think
and I think high school is probably
Yeah,
the
most
right way to
appropriate.
go.
Well, if an adult had the energy and wanted to, just like they did the mural that's on Abe Lincoln School, they had kids help design it. And then they had an artist who generated the finished thing.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's also possible, and talking with Bangor Beautiful and Annette is also still an option, through this, so it doesn't have to be school, but also Bangor Beautiful has some teachers who are on their board, so they also are connected to school, so it could be a combination of all of it. Yeah, right, I guess it doesn't have to be high school,
It seems more likely high school and a good opportunity for high school students,
Yeah.
but I don't know, everyone's so busy.
Yeah, but I guess also, right, if the painting time goes into summer, maybe that makes it more possible for students to participate. I have the list somewhere, I think I put it on the desk, and I can email that to you, Sam, and I can also find like their email addresses.
Do the colleges in town, Bangor campus,
They do
Eastern
have
Maine
they
and
do have
Hudson?
an art program at Hudson,
Okay,
as
They definitely
well
have
as
one in Maine.
Orono.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I said they definitely have one at Maine too.
Yeah, in Maine,
Well, I
And
was
we
trying to
had-
keep it Bangor.
yeah, we
Yeah.
decided that it doesn't have to be Bangor residents, because we wanted to allow
Right.
local-ish students to participate. If someone lives in Brewer and is super interested in art, we shouldn't exclude them from a project like this because the artwork will be installed in Bangor. So that was how city funding was still gonna be possible. So we could also open it up to UMaine, if we want to.
And probably the college too. I'm sure we have a
Oh,
apartment.
yeah.
There's a lot of kids that can't afford college go there for free.
Mhm. Yeah. would someone like to volunteer to gather art department, university, college, art department contact information?
I can find that.
Thank you.
Oh,
Maybe.
Way to play hard to get, gal. Cool. I'm also happy to join the committee so that we can hopefully get this done and get some great art on the terms. And right, we're just focusing on 2 for now, so there's also potential for this to turn into a bigger project. More. All right. Other restroom art RFP questions, thoughts, ideas? Okay. Did you have more about the budget?
Yeah, I'll just to add to that, the tax increment financing program, you know, like I said, it's a certain amount of taxes that are set aside in a special fund that benefits that district. In the past, we've used it for a lot of capital projects. For instance, you know, the wall on the Kentuskeg that needs to be rebuilt, you know, we set aside a certain amount of money every year because that's going to be a major project. Goes to that. You know, we're gonna be, we're working with a vendor that wants to do a bike share program in Bangor, so, you know, we're gonna be working with them to have a couple of bike stations downtown. So it's another project, so it's sort of a mix of enhancements like that and also capital projects. But the statute changed where you can also do other things. And so we brought that to council to sort of say, you know, whatever, just sort of like it's an empowerment that you're able to do these things. So right now, where it stands is we have to get that approved by the state, has to go to the Department of Economic and Community Development at the state level. They have to approve any changes to the TIF. So that's where it stands right now, is we're preparing all the documents that the state needs. And so when we hear back from the state that they've approved it, then we can talk a little bit more specifics, what that looks like.
Do you know anything about that timeline? And do you have to go defend the way we do here with city council?
With the ECD, no, I mean, it's a, you know, it's an application process. There's a bunch of documents that we have to send them, and then they usually call with questions, and there's some back and forth. So I don't know how long it'll take. We haven't done a TIF amendment here for a while, so but I expect the staff will be at the state level will be responsive, so.
Does this live under some kind of an umbrella or theme where it's, you know, generally supposed to create economic development or infrastructure improvement? I mean, isn't that generally the idea with the TIF?
Yep, it's basically to either, you know, do enhancements or improvements that benefit the district. I mean,
Okay,
that's, you know, and the community, and typically what happens is the city council kind of establishes just by way of what they fund with it, what that means, what that looks like.
sure. So, I mean, ultimately, it would be governed in a way of quite different than the grant situation, I would imagine.
Right,
There'd be some kind of parameters that would need to be met.
correct.
Okay, great.
All right. Any other questions about that or other budget questions?
Just a quick thank you to the city for proactively trying to find ways to better fund the arts.
Trying to fund
Yeah,
other
yeah,
things, yeah.
Grateful for that proactive work.
Yeah. So we'll put this on next month's agenda just to keep it active. Yeah, with you.
That sounds good. Thank you. And right, I don't think we'll know more yet about next year's budget by April, but possibly in May or June.
Okay.
I also just wanted to mention, you sent an email this morning about the livable, was that this morning or yesterday? Yesterday, the livable communities meeting.
Yep.
Do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, next Friday on Zoom, Livable Communities Committee, which is a sort of an arm. It was started out as an age-friendly inclusion committee in 2016, I think they started. And so one of the things that they work on is we bring city projects to them for them to evaluate them to make sure it's an age-friendly, initiative. For example, we bought the architectural plans to them for the first floor of City Hall to make sure that things would be convenient and accessible. And so we're bringing the downtown project, which is it's called the Village Partnership Initiative with Maine DOT. And that is a street and streetscape improvement plan that we've been working on, and we're gonna be presenting sort of the final draft to that committee next Friday at 11 a.m. on Zoom. If anybody's interested.
This is the continuation of the plans that you had at the Sidewalk Art Festival?
Yes.
Okay. I'm curious about which of the directions was chosen. Can you talk a little about that or no?
It's, definitely the Rotaries were not chosen. We
I'm
were,
not sad about that.
yeah, but yeah, the two-way, definitely bringing two ways back to downtown so that it's not just one big rotary like it is right now. And then there's, other streetscape amenities that come along with that, but yeah. Yeah, and we'll also be coming back to you to talk more about the art in Pickering Square with the Pickering Square improvements. So that'll be on a future agenda as well.
Great. I have a standing meeting Fridays at 11. Would it be helpful to have CCD members on this Zoom call next Friday?
For the downtown project? Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's open to the public, anybody, we encourage anybody that's interested in that project to come.
Okay. Is there time for people to ask questions or is this? more
Yes.
just- All right, anybody have questions about that? I think this email went to everybody. Is that right?
What's that?
Did this email go to everybody?
I
can't
think I
tell.
had you, I forgot, I think I have you on that, email, we have a huge email list for that it goes out to. And I think I had you on it because you were doing something with it in the previous year or something, I don't
So
know.
it just came to me, it didn't come to the. whole
Yeah,
bunch?
but I can
Okay.
send it to everybody, that's not a problem.
All right. Cool. Does the city have anything else? Are we forgetting anything?
Can I pivot back to the public restroom art for a second?
Yes.
So I just got a clarifying question asked of you all.
Hmm.
And at this point, I will admit, I can't remember from all the discussions that have been had about this project over time. Was your intent, or was this still left open-ended, that you would have one artist do, multiple sides on one restroom, or would you potentially have multiple artists on one restroom? Or
We left it open.
You left it open?
Groups of artists could apply together.
Yeah,
That's what I thought as well, but I just wanted to make sure.
yeah.
But it's not like we're not. If you don't apply together, it's not like we're gonna say, hey, you artist, you get this side, and then you artist, you get this side. It's, it has to be cohesive.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they would have to make the choice to sort of propose a joint project, otherwise you would be
Yes.
assigning one restroom to one artist?
Yes.
That was my intention also, yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. That just helps us figure out how that stipend would be delivered, so the stipend should really be per project rather than per artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one potential scenario is still that a group of teachers and students apply and
Yeah.
they are awarded both restrooms.
Yeah,
And then they would get.
then we get the
step.
two stipends.
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. That will help me get some
But right,
answers
if
for
we
you a little
get-
bit faster.
If we all of a sudden get 5 great options, Right, we might assign one group one restroom and the other group the other restroom.
Yeah, okay, understood. Thank you.
Great. Any other thoughts, reminders, questions? Things that are happening that we shouldn't forget about?
Well, I did not see, Sundance on TV and I'm sorry.
Yes. Thank you
You're welcome.
for jumping in.
Yeah. Thanks.
I got the email as I was sitting at the airport. It's like, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. Well, availability was my key strength in that situation. so I'm
Yes,
glad
I
was
could not do
available.
it.
And showing up,
Yeah,
actually
no.
saying yes, that's great.
Oh.
I really appreciate it.
Sure. yeah.
No, and you sounded like you knew exactly what you were talking about. It was very good. You did very well.
You have a commanding presence.
Yep.
Oh, geez, I don't know about that.
Great. Do we have an update on the canoe plaque?
I have not received an ETA on that yet. I think we're still waiting to hear from the sign company.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is it time to start emailing the sign company from all of us saying, hey, let's get this moving?
I will check in with Tracy again, and just see if he has any read on how hard we can push that.
Okay, thank you. All right. In that case, I adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone. Bye.